Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen says he'll give more details about that meeting when he gets back to the U.S. Van Hollen posting this photo on X saying he's spoken to Abrego Garcia's wife and given her Abrego Garcia's message of love.
Fighting against MS-13 for probably longer than Donald Trump even heard about MS-13. They're trying to make this case about Kilmar all about MS-13. The judge in the case has said they've not provided substantial or any significant evidence to back up their claim.
El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele is mocking the meeting, saying in part, Kilmar Abrego Garcia has miraculously risen from the death camps and torture. He also suggests he's still not looking to release Abrego Garcia, saying he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Per the New York Post, a conservative watchdog, the American Accountability Foundation is demanding an ethics probe into Van Hollen's El Salvador trip. The organization's president says Senator Van Hollen decided that he would use Senate funds to fly to El Salvador and advocate for an enemy of the United States. Here's President Trump talking about the case yesterday.
I have to refer again to the lawyers. I'll have to do what they asked me to do. I had heard that there were a lot of things about a certain gentleman, perhaps it was that gentleman, that would make that case be a case that's easily winnable on appeal. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to have to respond to the lawyers.
On Thursday, an appeals court denied the Justice Department's request to block a federal judge's order to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. The case could ultimately land back in the hands of the Supreme Court
tonight. And I think, boy, the party of women is really covering itself in glory tonight. I mean, I don't understand why the American left falls in love with the worst people. You've got a gang-banging, human-trafficking, wife-beating illegal alien, and a United States senator in a ludicrous display of energy is in El Salvador having Mai Tais and Yahtzee. I do not get it. I do not understand why the left takes on the heroes.
The part of this,
I don't get it.
I think
he has an adjudicated deportation order, and you have Democrat public officials falling all over themselves trying to get him back here without thinking through the next step, which is he's literally going to be deported.
The show tonight, we had the breaking news that Senator Van Hollen has accomplished at least that stated goal. He was initially turned away from this prison in El Salvador today, but then hours later, the El Salvadoran government arranged for Mr. Abrego Garcia to get out of the prison in order to meet Senator Van Hollen, somewhat bizarrely, in civilian clothes at a hotel in San Salvador. Now, we do not have a sense of what this is going to mean for Mr. Abrego Garcia overall. His lawyer tells us tonight he's just learning this meeting happened from social media like the rest of us are learning it. El Salvador's president just posted online that Mr. Abrego Garcia will now stay in El Salvador's custody. But again, it is the U.S. government that has been ordered by U.S. courts to get Mr. Abrego Garcia back to the United States. So we shall see. We did just obtain this statement from Mr. Abrego Garcia's wife. She says, quote, "My children and my prayers have been answered. The efforts of my family and community in fighting for justice are being heard because I now know that my husband is alive."
In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. Two separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse.
We've been watching President Donald Trump there swearing in the new administrator of the CIA.
I have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay, and you know I'm not going to push on that, apparently. But
due process. Everything we know about him is documented because he did go through the court systems. He was stopped for trafficking. His wife did file these domestic violence charges against him. He was arrested with MS-13 members with a roll of cash that had the eyes and the ears and the mouths of the presidents erased, which is an MS-13 markings. This is all non-disputed.
So nothing you're talking about
doesn't stop halfway.
But I'm saying he already got his due process and he got a deportation order.
No.
So
the process
idea that
isn't finished because the judge told them not to do it. So due process doesn't stop
when you like the outcome. It's a whole process. So that's why we have
what you guys are doing. Like when they side with the criminals, it's due process, and when they side against the criminals, suddenly they didn't
I've been
get
giving
due
this
process.
a lot of
That's
thought
what it looks
because
like.
I want to actually make sure the things that I come up here and argue, I actually believe in. And so I was thinking, I was like, am I just against this because Donald Trump is saying? I'm not.
I really admire that.
I'm not. But the thing that makes me better than the criminal is that I treat them with humanity and dignity despite of what they have done. And that when their judgment is placed on, then they have to live with it. But I cannot assign judgment to people because I don't like something. We have a system of law, and I would hope that the same due process that I received, that everyone's received. That's what makes our country.
Because you are an American citizen, you get more due process.
that is what makes our country wonderful. Is because it's for people in this land.
There is no slippery slope except the one the Democrats are trying to enforce.
I think you are right. Hold on, you're actually right to a degree that in this particular instance, he is going through an immigration process. But even in that process, which is largely administrative, it's not a jury situation, it's not as lengthy and as detailed, it's the standard is not beyond a reasonable doubt, it's the preponderance of evidence. Even by that standard, they did not, according to several judges, give him that process. So they didn't even give him a truncated process.
They sent him to the wrong country. But in any other country he could be sent to, they could put him in prison, and they probably will, because he's a wife beater, and that's where he belongs.
Look, I
am not Salvadorian, I'm Mexican, but for Salvadorians and for Nayib Bukele, a putazos. That man that got deported to CCOT no es inocente. He's not a little angel. He has freaking Mata tattoos. And for the freaking people who live in the United States who are demanding for us to try to go get this man back, if he has an MS-13 tattoo, that means the gang saw him kill another person so that he was able to get that tattoo. This is how ignorant you guys be.